Good afternoon. My name is George Phil, GP Guns Bespoke Armors, and I'm just going to do a brief tour, a little walkthrough of what I've done in my garage workshop here in order to get up spraying Cerakote and doing other gunsmithing challenges, or projects, shall we say. I have a full gunsmithing workbench in my tactical room inside the house, but we needed something for the garage, especially when spraying Cerakote that was obviously out of the house, and this is kind of what we built. This room was originally set up as a boiler room for the garage itself, the heating system, and a water heater for the apartment that's upstairs. Seeing as that this house is 107 some odd years old and none of those systems were working or needed at this point, I made it a focus to go ahead and try to transform this small side room and to get it operational for a spray operation. I do spraying. I have my fiber laser set up in here as well, and also an electroplating kit, which I'll walk through how this all came about. However, the room needed to be redone. We started with brand new floors, epoxied. The walls had to be redone. Waterproofing needed to be done, both positive and negative edge. And on top of that, we ended up putting in a light armor oven kit here. It has both the oven and you'll see the spray booth behind me. I also have a Crystal Blast Pro, a sandblast cabinet in here. And then the workbench is actually now coming out and being completely rebuilt, and all the new electrical was put in. So, thank you for the video and watching the video here, and let's start our mini tour. Okay, let's start with coming down here into the workbench area, and please excuse the mess. Actually, as I said, all of this is being ripped out. I'm going to put a stained cherry workbench in here, custom built with 3 cabinets. I've noticed I quickly ran out of storage space, so that needs to be added here. So everything, literally everything here is coming out, being completely cleaned up, redone, brand new workbench being built. But in the meantime, this was something that was stuck down in the basement for a small side workbench made out of 2x4s and cheap plywood. The back end here wasn't even painted properly. That was up against another wall. So the way it all fit in here, this is all coming out, putting a brand new one in. But you're going to see we have a brand new electrical panel was installed. If we look up, we redid the entire ceiling here. This was wide open, going just to the plywood. For the roofing material, that is all now double insulated. We want to make sure that we can keep the temperature and the climate control working. We went ahead and installed a mini split system. There's one here, there's one on the other side of the garage as well. 2 more air handlers will be coming in for the apartment upstairs. But more importantly, we're just going to focus on what we do here for the spraying work. Number one, we're going to do most of our breakdown probably either in the main FFL shop, the gunsmithing workbench over at the showroom. Parts will now come back over here. We go into, first we're going to degrease. I do have a degreaser. I use the Hornady hot tub. Go ahead and set that up. I use here we are. I'm using the Simple Green Aircraft and Precision Cleaner for a degreasing agent. After degreasing and drying, we're going to come into this wonderful light armor ovens package that I ended up buying. I got the oven here and also the spray bay. This oven is fantastic. Very easy and simple to use. Once we fire up here, the controller's pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and set this for 300 degrees. And I'll give you a little look here. It goes up to 500. Real easy to set. I'm just going to move this over. And we'll go ahead and set that for 300 degrees. And then we're going to outgas our parts in the oven, hanging here for 300. Now, obviously, if we're going to be using some type of optics, or if we're doing polymer frames, it's going to be a little bit different. But for all of our metal parts, we're going to outgas at 300 degrees. Very simple to work on the controller. You can literally just set through your settings, and we're going to set the timer for an hour. Right now, it's on 20 minutes for a Flash Carib F-Series last time. But we would kick that over. The timer will kick on. Once it gets up to temp, the timer starts a countdown, and the timer will beep and automatically shut off the oven once that time is reached. Pretty good. I don't like to leave things in the oven while I'm not here, but there are times where if I'm doing a final cure and I have some parts in the oven, there are some times though that if I have to run out and do something, maybe run an errand, or I go back into the gunsmithing workbench, I can leave the parts here in the oven, and I know the oven's going to shut itself down at that, once the timer is up. So anyways, this is the light armor oven that I'm using. You're going to notice it has one of the circulation fans just to make sure we don't have any cool spots or hot spots within the oven. It's got the 2 heating elements in the back. Wonderful purchase. And the one thing that kind of makes this easy, because I do have a small space, is you'll notice down here I went ahead and threw these on a dolly with some cambers. We can go ahead and kick these, lock them in, or move them so that everything in here will be able to move around if I need more space. So if I'm going to say spend more time doing my electroplating setup, which is half taken down at this point, but if I'm working on electroplating work and I have this running, I'm going to give myself more space by moving things back and out of the way. Whereas if I need to get in and do, say, a deep clean out of the sandblast cabinet, I can go ahead and slide this around. I want to say it was $50 or $60, and just basically screwed it in there and threw in some plywood. It worked out quite nicely. Please also note the new wiring that we had run that comes in here for this oven specifically. It's a 240 line. My electrician took care of that, ran this line in here for me along with the connector that goes straight into the box. I don't want to say an electrician charged more than a couple $100 to outfit the entire room with everything that I wanted, and specifically wiring up the oven as well. So something to keep an eye on. Haven't had any problems with it at all. For our sandblast cabinet, I'm working with the Crystal Blast Pro. These guys have been great with any service questions. I bought this secondhand, and moving it and transporting it was a little difficult, but the thing's pretty on point. I currently have it set up with 100 grit aluminum oxide, which is recommended by Cerakote for the proper etching for the Cerakote to take hold. We have our gloves in here. Pretty straightforward and simple operation. If you've sandblasted, you know what this is. I'll go ahead and kill it, but this has been pretty solid for me. And it gives me a decent sized workbench or work area to work with. This brings me over to my my spray bay. Again, I need something that's going to be relatively compact but still accomplish the job. You'll notice I do have a Craftsman compressor in here. It does get particularly loud, but especially for the size of this room, I will upgrade the compressor at some point. My last project that I was working on, you can see here I used my DeWalt clamps in order to clamp down any. It was an optics package that was going on top of a previously Cerakoted AK platform. You'll notice that obviously I have this hanging. They do a great job putting the T-rails up here, or L-rails, let's say. You have a big ass filter with a giant fan out the back. You can see there's actually some coloration in it from the Cerakote that's already been sprayed. I will swap that out relatively soon. I just use some magnets in order to clip my art paper up here just for my test sprays prior to actually spraying any parts. I went ahead and actually same thing with the dolly and the wheels on it here with some plywood. This is mounted on top of it, and I went ahead and put my paint mixer down into this as well. That's bolted in. Basically, it's a quick swap of the, over here on the compressor, and I'll make the paint mixer run. Let's fire this bad boy up. The lighting is fantastic on here. The fan's pretty good. I haven't had any issues with this whatsoever. It's a great spray bay. I've only used it for Cerakote, but you can basically spray anything you wanted here. You see the iWatt gun is set up. Ready to go. You can just dial in, what PSI you need for what particular Cerakote you're spraying. But all in all, it's come together quite nicely. Cheers to Light Armor Ovens. This package coming in, I want to say it was like $3,200. Once I added all the additional add-ons and the freight packaging and the shipping, I believe it was a little over $4,000 for the package for both the spray bay and for the oven. Total home run, other than running a very large operation, it's going to cost a fortune, a lot of square footage. For something as small and compact as I have here just in the garage workshop, this was a perfect price point. It was really good to start out this way. I purchased all this right after Cerakote certification training, and I couldn't be happier with the purchase. I will say one other thing to mention is I did purchase the additional odor control system for the oven and spray bay when I bought the combo kit. I don't find it's what I need for ventilation. I'm actually installing now the new ventilation setup that Light Armor Ovens now offers for the spray booth itself. There's a box on the back, and that will actually go up in through this window, or I'll punch through the bottom of the wall. I do have a little electrical back there, so I don't want to really go through the wall too much. I'll use this window in order to vent outside, so all of my spray with the size of this fan will take that out. But for the odor control kits that I ended up getting, these things were fantastic. You have inline fans. I just have them hanging. Again, this isn't permanent yet, so it's not all completely set up. It is 10 settings. You're going to find a filter. You're going to have the sleeve on the filter, which obviously needs to be taken off and cleaned at the moment. This all runs into the 2 holes that needs to have a more permanent bracket. These 2 holes were the exhaust for up the chimney that goes down to the top of the garage. This is the exhaust for the boiler and for the water heater. Obviously, that was burning gas. Because of those holes being there, I just ran, obviously, some of the hanging kits here. I just ran the piping and the tubing straight out so everything will exhaust out the chimney. I use this particular kit for the electroplating setup, so when I'm doing nickel bright, and gold plating, obviously there's going to be some fumes involved there. This will suck right out and go up the chimney. Also, you want some, fume and smoke ventilation situations for the fiber laser. This will suck right through here and go right out the chimney as well. Great setup. I forget exactly how much that cost. It was like $200 or $400 option. I got 2 of these things. They're absolutely great. No complaints on that. And then upgrading the ventilation for the spray booth with the new the new SKU that they just released. Very excited to get my hands on it, get that set up. This was just made to get up and working. Now that it is, we're going to clean everything up, new fresh coat of paint, kind of retouch the floor. Obviously, there's some insulation that's floating around from spray insulation. That all needs to get cleaned up, and brand new workbench, and we'll be ready to go. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I'll try to get them as quick as I can. Take care.